Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
You were the chosen one!
You don't know the power of the dark side.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! I hate you!
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy, and a cunning warrior. You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Luke, the Force will be with you.
I am your father. Here is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Welcome to the R5C Cantina! Woo! Yeah, we talk Star Wars and theme parks and movies and lore, tops, cards and artwork, memorabilia galore, sci-fi and MCU. Step inside the Cantina, the R5C Cantina. Welcome in.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome in this evening. What? You got delays here. Hold on a second. I gotta go. Han Solo's in the house. What up, buddy? Check it out. Check it out. How can I do this? Just trying to get this to work. So before we go any further, thanks for coming. We're at 96 subs. December, January, I think we were at like 38. So we're growing. I've been doing a lot of stuff over on Whatnot, and I've been doing some live streams and some videos and stuff over here. But I want to get back into more interactive stuff with you guys. So this is really about you guys and what you want. This isn't about negativity. This isn't about toxicity. This isn't about Dave Filoni this and Kathleen Kennedy that. This is where it's like Star Wars is real, and we get to make the stories as they go. We get to look at the past as if it's real, and we get to say, what if this changed, and what if we did this, and what if he took this step and didn't cut off this hand, and different stuff like that, just to kind of give us an escape. You know what I'm saying? That's what this is all about. We're kicking off your week. Hope you had a good weekend. We want to kick it off with an escape from the younglings. We're already going, I see. So there's going to be a few different parts to this. So it'll be, what if Anakin was granted the rank of master? And then it's going to move into some other sort of big questions I have for you guys. And then you fill in the blanks with me. So before we do that, though, let's take a look at the chat, because y'all showed up and showed out. I love it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Wait a second. I'm on the wrong. If I got on the right screen, I guess it would it would help. All right, here we go. Where are we at? JD showed up. What's up, JD? Ricardo, thank you for showing up, brother. JD, I hope you're feeling better too, by the way. Chaotic is here. What's up, Chaotic Rage 420? I like it. JD saying what's up. Izzy's here. What's up, Iz? Got to get you back on soon, brother. Pete's here. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man? A lot of this too, I was thinking about like how we express this stuff. Like last year, meeting Pete in person at Galaxy's Edge, under the wing, or under the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. You know, it was a really cool moment. The fandom, the friendship, everything coming together. It was really, really cool. Thanks for letting me know about the sound, because I was worried about that video coming through. Hence Solo's in the house. Thanks for the support, man. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let me get through. Where are we at? Pete's out. Pete's back in. He's on TV. All right, that's cool. And Izzy saying what's up to Q and some other guys. All right, cool. So I'll be bringing up comments and stuff as we go as well. There is a slight delay for me, so I'm trying to keep an eye on the YouTube part of it too. Let's see if I can pop this bad boy out. That's what he said. All right. Here we go. Okay. So let's talk about this timeline a little bit. Let me bring this in here. Let's get right down to it. I think I did that right. No, I didn't. Hold on. Preview. Pause it. Got to see my little button. Preview. Here it is. Pause it. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the timeline a little bit first. Strumming the guitar. Oh, cool. There you go. So let's talk about this timeline again. Sorry. Anakin is getting played by the Emperor, right? The Emperor has been playing the Council. He is putting the dark side shadow over everything. You know, Yoda said it, the dark side shadows everything, right? And there's lore, and in Legends content, I should say, they were like torturing people in underground cages and caverns and old Sith things beneath the city to keep pain waving through the ether, so that it just everything clouded the vision of the Force wielders for good. And Anakin's in this big mix, He's a little boy, and the whole time, what's Yoda doing? Yoda's saying he's too old. There's too much in the future that could mess all of this up. It hangs in the balance with this kid. But if we stop him here, we don't have to worry about it. He kept fighting that. And then you had Qui-Gon kind of being the rebel, saying, no, I want to train him, right? So anyway, fast forward up to the events of episode 3. He's getting frustrated with his training. He's getting frustrated with where he's at. He wants to be a knight. He wants to be master. He wants to be all these things. Now the Emperor's in his ear. The Emperor wants to use him for his power. And he starts playing the council, and he tells the council, make this dude my envoy. Make him put him on the council. The council's like this thing connected to the politics, to the political landscape of things. He's like, look, I want him on there. He's my personal aide. So then they see it as a tool. They see it as, well, we can get Anakin to spy. And Anakin's getting confused, and all this. And then he gets all pissed off. And they tell him, you can sit on the council, but you're not granted the rank of master. And he's like, it's ridiculous. It's stupid. And in a lot of ways it was, But what if, before these things transpired, the Emperor was kind of losing his grip on him, and then he came forward, and Mace and everybody said, all right, Anakin, we're going to put you through some trials one last time, and then we're going to put you on the council. Because if you watch the animated stuff that was taking place in between these years, Anakin was going out and doing some incredible stuff when it came to the Force, and still coming out of it strong and good. You know what I mean? So what if he was just given that rank? How would it change things? How would it affect other factions, other groups? Think of the domino effect. Things wouldn't transpire in certain ways. Like, maybe he would have figured out that the Emperor was Sith and went to turn him in, and then maybe they defeat him. Maybe they get him, or maybe not. Maybe the games just keep getting played. But what kind of characters, what kind of factions or planets get affected by this? Who rises to power and who falls if Anakin is granted this? Would the Emperor stay in power? Think about too. Let me move this along here. Hold on. Anakin would have stayed a Jedi, and Luke would have still been born, right? Because she was pregnant by now. So then would him and Luke have gone out and been like in the galaxy together? You know what I mean? What if he was allowed to have the relationship still? What if they changed that rule? Because he's a master, he's got sway, he's got a voice, he's got a vote. They've rid the universe. I mean, I'm just guessing here. They've rid the galaxy of the Emperor. Now they're going to move on with this sort of new way. And Obi-Wan would have to step up and admit that he had a love affair, because he did before all this too, was Satine, right? So now you've got them with this connection with somebody. You got children. You've probably got love children all over the galaxy from these guys, these sucker fools. Do you think it would have gone that far if they grant him this? Then he could have spoke up and said, by the way, guys, I dropped some midichlorians somewhere I shouldn't have. Right? But then that's an important thing for the council to consider, because they're like, well, damn, the deed is done. What's done is done. He's going to have children that are going to be the children of the most powerful force wielder in the galaxy, excuse me. And he's on our side. So maybe they say, okay, well, maybe we can let this slide, or maybe we can look at it a different way, right? I'm asking you guys. Do you think they would have allowed attachment and things like that? I mean, you can't say the rules were being followed hard and fast, because everybody was breaking rules. People were doing stuff they weren't supposed to be doing all over the place. Qui-Gon was doing stuff, Obi-Wan, Dooku was off doing stuff, you know, because then you got to take into account too, Dooku would still end up being a foe. Yoda was even doing stuff, sneaking off and trying to, you know, solve mysteries and detective stuff, you know. So it's like they'd have to see sort of the hypocrisy, the hypocrites that they were being during a lot of this. So I don't know that would be a good thing to change or not. What else did I have here? Thought I had one more. Basically it's this. It's to say, if I can see my stupid, it's to say what version of Anakin here, or what mixture of Anakin here would be that you know, stuck around and stayed. What do you guys think? There's some other questions that I would raise too, like Order 66 would have never happened. Mace Windu would have lived. Ahsoka might have stayed in the Order, because, you know, the Emperor is playing behind all this stuff, right? What's the logical domino effect to kick off the events if Anakin would have been granted that rank? What do you think? Duffman is here. What's up, buddy? What is going on? The Squirrel Army. I like it. So what do we think if Anakin reached, if he reached the rank of master and he's sitting on the council? I think the likelihood of them defeating Sidious is extremely high. If you had Anakin and Mace taking on just him by himself, they definitely got him. That's my take on it. But if they get through that, then what's next? Because there's so many pieces and layers. You know, there's those Sith hope, the Sith worshippers or whatever out there, the alchemy. They probably got extra clones set up somewhere. There's a whole lot of places the story could go. But in that immediate time, what do you think could be some of the fallout? You know, because Anakin, they said when we got the theory of the midichlorians, as long as Anakin had all of his limbs, he was full of more midichlorians than anyone ever in history of life. So okay, this is good. This is good. So even if they would have granted him, he still would have been playing with his head about the dreams he was having about Padme. But don't you think the Padme dreams were a result of the clouded vision of the future of Anakin actually hurting her? When he says liar and he chokes her, he kind of kicks off the events leading to her death. It wasn't a broken heart. It was the fact she got choked out by her man and thrown across the thing, you know. So then she passes away and they have the twins. I feel like that's a direct result of Anakin's actions. So where else could that go? I know Rick's got a theory for sure. But that's an excellent thought, Mr. 420. That's an excellent thought. And it's true. He had a tight grip on him, but it was based on him confiding in the Emperor or whatever he was at the time. I'm having these dreams. I think she's going to die. And then he's telling him, hey, you think, you ever heard about the Plagueis the Wise? That's my homeboy. But before the argument happened, they put him on the council at the Emperor's request. Then he told him, not soon thereafter, he revealed to me that he's a Sith. He told me. And he went and ran and got Mace and told Mace. Like, he was ready to, like, go all in and take him out. And then he kept he was played. He was played. See, this is what we have to theorize right here. Was the Emperor influencing Anakin's dreams, though, making him think Padme's going to die? So Palps is the only path. Partly, but I also think there was some future telling there too. I don't think if he was made master, it would have made any difference. Yeah, but he had so much. He had so many feelings against the Jedi, so much distrust building up because they were kind of keeping him in the dark about so much stuff. What if it didn't make a difference, but it went to his head? Because remember, he would tell Padme, in some ways, I'm stronger. I know I'm a better lightsaber duelist than him and all this. And, you know, I'm a way ahead of him already in many ways. Well, if they make him a master, that's fuel to the fire too, right? Let's run a poll on that, Pete. Pete had a good point. He didn't think it would change much. So we'll run a poll. I think it could have gone a few different ways. It could have gone to his head, or he could have finally felt acceptance, and he could have agreed to help take down the Emperor. But then you've still got so much other stuff going on. The whole idea of having that Senate is kind of crazy too. And he was basically a master because Dave invented Ahsoka, who quit. Isn't that wild too? Remember what I said earlier? I don't know if you were here yet, Rick. I said, like, would they rechange the rules to let him have a wife because he admits that she's pregnant? Because so many Jedi were breaking all these rules anyway. You know, and here they go letting him take a student, you know. And she's calling him master, and he's not master. Dave invented her. Ricardo says another factor was what happened with Ahsoka. He distrusted the council already because of their failure with her. Right. And you know, that's the thing about the movie. When we watch the movie where he's told he's not going to be granted the rank, at that point in time, we didn't know any of this. So now looking back and knowing all of this, these blanks that they filled in, if we just looked at the movie, we could say, well, the Ahsoka stuff doesn't matter, but it has to matter because it happened before the movie. You thought Anakin was a cocky child? That's funny. Qui-Gon, sir, you have nothing on me. Anakin was destined to become Sith no matter what happened. He would always have a Gagath. So then I think we're agreeing. I think everybody's agreeing then that the Emperor would have still been around. He still would have been playing into Anakin's ear. And with Anakin now a master, maybe it just would have curtailed the plan slightly, but not changed a hell of a lot in the overall arc. He still would have gone to the dark side. He still would have been playing that part of trying to save Padme. He still would have been using that against, because that's probably the one thing the Emperor could have kept using on him, right? Because you would think in the context of the movie that granted master rank on the council, you'd have sway, you'd have some room to go do a little more. You wouldn't be sending all these little errands and being somebody's bodyguard and all this stuff. But I guess what the comic told us was, well, he wasn't rank master, but he had a student. And then doesn't that kind of, like when Yoda would say, always two, there are no more, no less, right? Are we talking about Sith or are we talking about Jedi? Because they were doing the same thing in Jedi. Qui-Gon with Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan with Annie, Annie with Ahsoka. They're doing rule of two with the Jedi. Did the Sith steal the move? I'm trying to see the poll, but I can't see the poll. That's what he said. I don't know why it won't work. Let's see. Where are we at? $67. Okay, so does making Anakin master rank change the events of episode 3? 67% right now are saying no. Cocky attitude. Okay. All right. So he's granted master, and then we move on to would the Emperor necessarily fall? Would Anakin leave with him? Would it have to be the events the way we saw them play out? I mean, I'm convinced Mace Windu lived anyway, either way, right? So I'm kind of the same way. No matter what happened, Mace lived. Brandon, welcome to the stream. What's up? Luke would not have become as powerful as he did if Anakin didn't turn. It would become like another High Republic era, which would doom the Jedi ultimately, because complacency kills progress. All right. What are we talking about here? 1,000 years before the fall of the Jedi, Darth Bane implemented the rule of two to stop all the Sith infighting. But doesn't it seem like the Jedi did it too? What about like Order 66? Would they have created the clone army still? Would Windu have lived? Would Ahsoka stick around at this point because Anakin's a master? And he could turn to her and say, don't worry about it, Snips. We can do this. The Bane trilogy. Okay. Ever only two Sith. So how does that work with the Sith? Is it that they try to manipulate and undermine and take over as the master and the apprentice together so they could do things that as just two that thousands couldn't do? Well, there were thousands of Jedi until episode 2. What was it? 300 showed up and only 30 left? Yeah, I understand that it only applies to master and apprentice, but it's like then they had like the younglings in a class, and then you'd have just two together. I don't know. There are only two Sith, but 10,000 Jedi Knights at the time of the Diddy party, at the time of the orgy. Sith Lords. Right. So it's like they shoehorn stuff into the stories sometimes for us. But I think that's the thing about Sith, right? Like, look at what happened. The Emperor on his own just used manipulation to gain the ultimate power in many ways, not just force powers, but politically and the power. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing to think if you're like a warrior that could do all these things, that you would still kind of take office, so to speak. It's like, I don't know. It's not so much that he wanted to destroy, it's that he just wanted to control. And that was, I think, a unique thing to Sheev Palpatine, because some of the other Sith out there may not have wanted the same outcomes as him. They might have wanted to just destroy or take out something. But how are they going to do that? They'd have to have an army. They'd have to have soldiers and things like that. And as time progressed and training progressed, and they went to the rule of two, it wasn't to hide necessarily, but it was to sort of defeat from within, which I really feel like that's what Palpatine really did. He was like the worst inside man in the worst way, So let's end that poll. (62 to 38), 8 votes. A Sith can only become master by defeating his master. They have to defeat him? They can't just they end up like Anakin? Can't get a rank? That's unusual. That's an unusual way to look at it, I'm the master, you're the apprentice, and the only way that you can get to my rank is by besting me, taking me out. That's wild. Gap, welcome in. What's up? We're going down a rabbit hole. That's the way that Bane set it up, yes. But again, with the rule breaking, even Palpatine was throwing away apprentices left and right. He had Dooku. He had Maul. He didn't give a damn. He had Vader. Arapaho, will we ever come out? So the question was, what if Anakin had been granted the rank of master, on the council before they went to mess with Palpatine? And the consensus is nothing really would have changed much, because he was already in Anakin's head. Most believe he was putting the visions in his head of Padme's life ending. And he was kind of like, he would set up the vision and then sort of manipulate people to have those pieces fall into place. So it would be like chess for him, and everybody else is playing checkers. He put him on the council because he knew there was a wedge there. He knew there was distrust there. And we see that because of a lot of the things with what had happened with Ahsoka before these events, him and his training. Yoda didn't even want him trained, and here he is growing up doing all this stuff. He never feels quite accepted. And then he gets to this day, and then the Emperor, again playing everybody, says, look, I want him to be assigned as my personal representative on the council. And so they put him on the council, and they tell him, you're a master now, Annie. Let's have a party. Call Jar Jar. So then Anakin's made master, but it doesn't really change much. He can just tell the guys, hey, listen, guys, I kind of dropped a big load of midichlorians inside this chick who happens to be a princess, a queen, and I got some kids on the way. Oh yeah. So here we I think it's probably a good idea to think Palpatine put those visions in Anakin's dreams, and he couldn't keep himself, and he couldn't concentrate on anything. I don't think he died a Master Sith though, because he told Luke he wanted to look upon him with his human eyes, and that was his redemption. So I don't know that maybe he was a Sith for a minute and then turned back to Jedi. I don't know how that worked. I don't know how we want to agree that would have worked for him, but I guess you could say he hit the ranks on both sides. But right here's a great point. Once Darth was in the armor and he asked where Padme was, Palpatine told him, "You killed her." And that's when he got the big no, because it was like as he foreseen it, and he kind of put it out there and made it happen, It wouldn't have changed anything. Palpatine already had him hooked with the Plagueis story. I don't know. I think there's a big opportunity. Obviously, in our story, the way we got it, nothing would have changed it. I get it. But if this was real world events, maybe the weight of getting that title might have pushed him a little bit different way. And hey, for all we know, it could have been the worst way and made him want to become the emperor and him want to take over. Yes, the redemption came the moment he threw Palpatine over the side. Yes. So did he become Jedi again, or just become Anakin again, the man, and he was just done with it all? The chosen one had brought balance to the Force in that moment. What if Mace Windu would have granted him the title of motherfucker? You can sit on the council, but you are not granted the rank of master. However, you are granted the title of motherfucker. See, it would be very bad because he didn't. There was no fight yet with his brother. He still had all his limbs except for the hand or whatever, right? So he would have been way more powerful. If we're accepting the midichlorian theory, it stated that he would have had way more midichlorian power in him, force sensitivity, if you will. Kind of like I thought they were going to do that when they did it with Marvel. I thought for sure. Why? Because I said granted the rank of motherfucker. Palps would be dead as a doornail, and Anakin would be raising Jedi assassins. Hell yeah. Where are those little suckers? Let's see. Hold on. Right there. There's the fam. Oh, look who's in the back. I know Rick probably loves that. But there's a lot of cool stuff like this. Like I just was thinking, like, what if Mace Windu lived and write that story out and all that different stuff, let me see here. So I was going to do a mix of like what if episodes, and then we could do some bracket wars. We could do some tier lists. The Acolyte was not award winning on any plane of existence that I'm aware of. That had some good moments in it, but where I think it veered off and got way off a track was just trying too many things. However, that's not really what I'm trying to do here. I'm not really trying to talk about shows and things. I'm trying to talk about like looking at the lore and making lefts and rights and just seeing where it could go with you guys, you know. I'm gonna put some stuff down here for you guys, because believe me, brother, the stuff that I don't like, you probably don't like either. So I was like, what can we do it? Can we do something different this time? You know? Let's see. I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring. I'm gonna let's see. I'm gonna pump this up. Pats fans here, what's up, buddy? They should let Quentin Tarantino write and direct a short series. That'd be a trip. Let's see. I'm gonna put some stuff in that in another poll here for you guys. No, that's not my breathing, buddy. Okay. That's cool, Ken. So I did a new poll here. And it is, what if Qui-Gon survived and trained Anakin? What if Luke joined Vader at the end of Empire Strikes Back? What would you rewrite for the finale of the Clone Wars? The Lost Clone Wars arcs. So in other words, rewrite the finale, like to include some other things that we know about with the clones. And what if the sequel trilogy, instead of being where it was in the timeline, was where the Mandoverse is 5 years after Return of the Jedi? So basically, I'm asking you guys what you want to do for the next episode, because it's cool. I think that there's no definite answer to a lot of these. It's not like my opinion and what I say. It's me just having these thoughts, and I kind of give you something to wet your whistle, and then you go down the rabbit hole too. And you know, we've done this a little bit before in the past. We talked about Darth Maul. We talked about kind of building out a Darth Maul trilogy. Who would survive? Who would show back up in it? What kind of timeline would it be in? What enemies would we see? What good guys would we see? What changes would we see in the universe? And then they gave us Darth Maul, and it was kind of partially what we dreamed up, what we hoped. So I think we're on the right track there. Like hey, I know where you can get one made, custom, brother. Send me a message. Too bad I've only got 95 subs, so we can't knock him off his roost at number 1. He's just gonna keep commenting and keep those points coming. Well, it's Red 5. It's Rebels. It's the Buttercups of the Galaxy. Dang, that dog, he is really snoring. Damn. Hey, Jackson, you want a treat? Oh, he woke up quick. I appreciate the input, though. That's awesome. And like I said, there's going to be nights where we don't do it like this. We don't do what ifs. We do tier lists. We're going to do brackets. We'll talk about what our favorite movies are. Maybe we'll talk about the right order to watch them. Clone Wars stuff. And Imperial, no. His fat ass has had enough biscuits. I can't even say the T word. He'll freak out. Thanks for taking part in the poll. Thanks for taking part in the poll earlier while we were having the discussion. I appreciate it. I'm going to let you guys lead these things. I'm going to give you choices and you tell me where to go. And all I'm going to do is dig out a little research, ask some questions, and let you guys go. Yeah, it's all good, brother. I appreciate it. But we're going to try and do this. You know, I was doing Mondays off and on since 2020. So we had it going for a while. Life things pop up. Got to slow down, change things. It's all good. You're going to see videos tomorrow. There's another. I've been doing the ride videos from my trip to Disneyland. So we've done 2 full ride throughs. We did Rise of the Resistance. We did what was the other one? The Toontown one is tomorrow, I think. Oh, we did the submarine. We're going to be doing the what is it? Bunch of the Storyland rides, storybook rides over there, Fantasyland stuff. So those videos will be coming out like once a week. There's one coming out tomorrow. I got some like reviews of stuff. Like I bought a new coffee machine. I'm doing a review. I don't care. It's Star Wars. Damn it. I had a Darth Vader coffee mug. I don't give a damn. But sometimes I'm going to have guests. And then when we have guests, we'll talk about collecting and different stuff. I run streams off of my whatnots once in a while. So just trying to reconnect with all you guys and get back into this a little more slowly but surely. I got some, what do you call it? Workshop stuff like this. I'm working on a Yoda back there. I got the cape. I got the robe back, but the seamstress that did the robe for me put a hood on it. And it doesn't look right unless the hood's up. So I might have to have her redo it. So we'll be doing some stuff like that too. And talking about like the new Vision series coming up, talking about some Marvel stuff, different things like that. So the Saving Star Wars, this is episode 1. This is Red 5 Cantina Live, episode 11. I also take these and post them on not only here, but Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so you can just listen if you're out and about. And I just appreciate the support. It's really good to see you guys here. And hopefully you like this format a little bit. And just remember, this is where it all started, right here. That guy right there. All right, let me take a look at the poll. That's what he said. Where is it at? Yeah, I'm going to be doing stuff all over the place, bro. Let's see. All right, let's take a look at the poll. Why won't it show me the poll? He wants to see the poll. Okay. What if Qui-Gon survived to train Anakin? 33%. I don't know about the AI thing as much as the shitty storytelling, Pete. I mean, do it in AI, but goddamn, give us some good storytelling, because what I'm hearing is coming out sounds like hot garbage. But it's easy to be negative, you know what I mean? Because when you get in those theaters and you watch a film, you know, the feeling's different. I didn't go see Mando. I'm gonna wait till it comes out on streaming, only because it was a big nothing burger. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It didn't move the needle anywhere. It just brought Stinky into the fold a little bit. And that was really it. There was no big major stuff going on, you know. Okay, sorry. What if Qui-Gon survived to train Anakin 33%? What if Luke joined Vader after Empire Strikes Back when he implored him to come, 33%? Rewriting the Clone Wars ending is 0. And what if the timeline was moved up for the sequel series to be where the Mandoverse is? In other words, that all could be the Mandoverse. Luke, Mando, Boba Fett, Grogu, all of it right there 5 years later. Basically where The Mandalorian started could be where the whole sequel trilogy started. I think the big issue with the sequel trilogy, and not to go off on a tangent there, but it's like they brought in new directors and they sort of let them do their take. And I feel like when George Lucas brought in other directors, it was out of necessity. He had a hit film that became this huge corporation that he had to run and had all these moving parts, and he had to get all these different people. Irving Kershner was George Lucas's professor in college, film professor, and he had worked on a ton of movies and he had all this experience. And basically, he just came in. They already had the story there, the storyboards and everything, and he just put it together. And then they'd bring, and you had Lawrence Kasdan and all these guys involved. George would come in, do some things, in and out. So it was kind of cohesive. Like, here's the screenplay, here's the ideas, everything's worked out. Just direct it and put it together. Whereas these sequels, I just feel like they started with some good ideas and then they told the next guy, hey, just do what you think. I don't know why you'd want to do that. It almost makes me feel like they didn't have it mapped out. That's silly. It's crazy. So that's all I'm doing is rewiring the map. But it looks like here I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll, and it looks like the clear winner is Luke joining Vader after the events of Empire Strikes Back. Okay, so that'll be our next one next week, hopefully. I think we can do it. I am your daddy. That's an interesting one right there to go down, for sure. For sure. Like, I don't want to get too far into it because that'd be a good episode. But why was the Emperor like punking him out, like saying, kill me? He's like saying, kill me. What did he know? Was he going to possess him right then and there on the spot? That's a trip. Like, damn, that's kind of ballsy. Tell a dude, go ahead and kill me. So if Anakin would have been granted the rank of master on the council, the Emperor still would have been in his ear, wouldn't have changed anything. He may have become even more cocky and told everybody to get bent. I've been bending Padme over the freaking Narshu plants on planet Ginshu or whatever, and she's about to pop with my midichlorian disciples. So it wouldn't have mattered. He would have just said, this is how it is. And Obi-Wan, you're coming with me or I'm going to take you out. And Ahsoka, you guys can hook up too and have little babies with crazy heads. So Anakin still would have been manipulated, even feeling of being a master, like he could really let loose. And maybe he would have teamed up with the Emperor in an even worse way, eventually trying to take him out in his sleep. That's what I think. That's definitely what I think. He would have ended up trying to take out the Sith Master because he would have said, I'm a master now. I'm stronger. I can do this. But all right, so we got it for next time. So we'll set that up for next week. And I definitely appreciate you guys. And with that, we'll say good night. May the force be with you. And remember one thing, guys, this week. It doesn't cost a dime to be kind to somebody, to lend a helping hand. Just be nice. So I'll see you guys later. Peace.